Wait, you actually didn't choose this video. Something in you led you here. Now the question is, what is that something that you didn't choose?
Newtonian determinism says that the universe is a clock, a gigantic clock that's wound up at the beginning of time, and it's been ticking ever since according to Newton's laws of motion. So, what you're going to eat 10 years from now, on January 1st, has already been fixed. It's already known using Newton's laws of motion. So what does that mean for free will? It means in some sense we do have some kind of free will. No one can determine your future events given your...
Always. Do we really have free will? Or we just feel like we do? It's one of the most important questions that sounds simple until you sit with it. At first, these answers feel very obvious, right? Of course, we have a free will. I mean, it is a very simple answer, and yes, that's true to and some extent. Now, let me take you on a very small journey where we will understand that do we actually have a free will or not. So, you decided to click on this video. You chose to keep watching. You can stop at any moment. And that feeling of control feels immediate and undeniable. And yet, philosophy has always been suspicious of feeling that seems too obvious. Because the moment we ask why you clicked, what chain of thoughts, habit, curiosities, patterns, what was that moment that led you here? That made you click on this video? Hi friends, welcome to this random overthinking corner. And आज मैं फ्री विल के बारे में डिस्कस करने वाली हूँ. ऑल्दो मैंने एक प्रीवियस वीडियो भी बनाई हुई है जो फ्री विल वर्सेस डिटर्मिनिज्म के ऊपर है. इट्स अ वेरी शॉर्ट 5 to 7 minutes ऑफ अ वीडियो. लेकिन आई थिंक मुझे ये पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक फ्री विल, इसके बारे में मुझे डिटेल में डिस्कस करना था बिकॉज दिस इज समथिंग दैट कैन नॉट बी कवर इन जस्ट 2-3 minutes ऑफ अ वीडियो. और बेसिकली जो मैंने प्रीवियस वीडियो बनाई थी वहां पर मैंने कंपैरिजन किया था कि फ्री विल क्या है, डिटर्मिनिज्म क्या है अकॉर्डिंग टू फिलोसफी. बट आज हम इस वीडियो में स्पेसिफिकली फ्री विल को बहुत ज्यादा डीपर कॉन्सेप्ट में समझेंगे. एंड आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू डाइव सो मच इनटू फिलोसफी एज वेल. तो आप ऐसा मत समझना कि आप रिलेट नहीं कर पा रहे हो. मैं बहुत ही बेसिक एग्जांपल्स लूंगी और आई विल ट्राई टू मेक यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट हाउ डीप दिस कॉन्सेप्ट इज and how lightly we take this 24/7. So, without any further ado, let's start. So, for most of the human history, free will was considered as the power to choose otherwise, which means if you chose one path, you could have chosen another under the same condition. But this definition hides a problem because every choice you make comes from who you are, your character, your benefits, your belief, and your values, your fear, and your desires. And the most fun part. And if those things remains the same, then how could you have chosen differently? To choose otherwise, it would require you to be a different kind of a person. You can't choose a different thing in the same place, in the same environment, with the same thought. It's like you're expecting a change by repeating the same behavior. And you're magically expecting that it would change one day. No, it will not. You'll have to change your habits, you'll have to change your thoughts pattern, you'll have to change everything about you to expect a different kind of an answer. The question shifts. Are you freely choosing? Or are you simply expressing the kind of a person you already are? Imagine standing at a crossroad, deciding whether to take risk or play it safe. From the inside, it feels like a very genuine type of a moment of freedom, like you weigh option, you calculate the risk, you decide, you hesitate. But from the outside, someone who knows you well, they might say, of course, you're going to choose that. I know you very much. Because you always do. This happened not because you were forced, but because of the pattern that you've created over the years, the repetition that anyone can predict your choices who knows you well. So how is it a free will? And the very fun part is that once the patterns emerges, freedom start to look less like randomness and more like a consistency. So my question is to you is, where does free will exist? Is it in unpredictability or being true to yourself? Think about this. This idea is extremely unsettling because it seems to strip a human life of its meaning. If your actions were inevitable, then what happens to the responsibility, to regret, to moral efforts? And yet, the defenders of this view would say that inevitability does not make life meaningless. It makes it it simply makes it understandable. Not outside the universe making choices out of nowhere. You're inside it. And obeying the same principle like everything else in this universe. And the discomfort comes not from the idea itself, but from the loss, comforting story that we somehow exempt from nature. But others argued that this entire debate rests on misunderstanding. Maybe free will was never about being uncaused. Maybe freedom does not require breaking the laws of the universe. Instead, freedom might mean something quieter and more grounded, acting according to your own reasons, values, and understanding, and without being extremely compelled to it. Under this view, the opposite of freedom is not a causation, it's a coercion. You are unfree when someone forces you, manipulates you, or removes your capacity to reflect. You are free when your actions flows from your own reasoning, even if that reasoning has a history. And this reframing changes everything. It suggested that free will is not a magical power that floats above the universe, but a natural capacity that emerges within. You don't need to be uncaused to be free. You need to be responsive to reasons. You need the ability to reflect, to pause, to ask yourself, why are you about to act, and whether you want to stand behind that action. Freedom then is not about escaping the influence, it's more about understanding the influence. Now consider how much of a daily life is on an autopilot. You wake up, you reach for your phone, you follow routines, you repeat actions, you revisit the same thoughts or same memories. None of this feels forced, and yet a very little feels chosen either. This is where philosophy makes a crucial distinction. Two action can look identical from the outside, but be entirely different from the inside. So the one person acts out of habits and the another one acts out of reflections. The behavior is same, but intuitively one feels freer than the other. And guess what? Who is that? The person who reflects. This suggests that freedom is not binary. It comes in degrees. And this idea has a very profound implications. Means free will is not something you either possess or you lack. It's something that you can strengthen or weaken. For an example, every single time you examine your beliefs instead of inheriting them, every time you question an impulse instead of obeying it, every time you notice a pattern, and instead of being carried by it, you expand the space in which choices become possible. That space may be small, it may be fragile, but it matters. For an example, when you go through the same lifestyle, go through the same routine, you talk to the same people, you hang out with the same friends, you stay in the same relationships, and you notice a pattern that every single time you get into the situation like this, which is extremely negative, which is extremely toxic, and you understand the patterns, but the fear of choosing different that comes with getting out of your comfort zone puts you in the pressure, or puts you in a very fragile position of like, yes, I might know things are wrong for me, I can see them clearly, but I'm still choosing it, but I'm still choosing to stay there, to endure everything that I feel like it's not right for me. It comes with the patterns. Yet I have seen multiple peoples in my life where they already know what they were doing, they knew the patterns, they knew their habits, everything they knew, and they know that, okay, this is where I'm going wrong, but they still chose to do that. You might want to think why. The reason was only one statement coming out from them, which made me very curious about the concept of a free will on a very initial stages, which was, let's leave it. It's not in our hands. What else we can do? I mean, I cannot choose anything. I don't have the liberty. I don't have the freedom. You know, I think this is what it is, and you just have to accept it. That's how you understand that. That thing got me really curious about the concept of a free will. And that's why I started reading philosophy, because I want to know more about myself. So, this also reshapes how we think about responsibilities. Responsibilities does not require absolute independence from causes. It requires the capacity to understand reasons and respond to them. We hold people accountable because they're uncaused, but because they can reflect, and yet some people don't. They can learn from their choices. Just a being that can recognize reason is treated differently. And we all know, right, from the one that cannot. Let me give you a very easy example so that you understand this phrase. You're you're in a group circle, okay? You're hanging out with 4 or 5 people. So either it's your friends, or it could be anything, your family members, or it could be your professional life. You're hanging out with 2 3 people, okay, and you're following the same routine with them. One day you decided, you sit down, okay, let's just say I sat down and I thought to myself, like, wait, there are things that I'm doing which I think they're not right. Maybe we are making fun about someone else, okay, maybe we're talking very negatively, maybe we are gossiping. One day I sat down and I thought to myself that this is something that I'm doing is not right, and I need to stop doing it. But now I hang out with the people who constantly gossip. If I will stand up for myself in that group, what will happen? Those people who are gossiping about other people will start gossiping about me. They will make me an outcast, an odd one out. Because now I have understood that, okay, you know what, this is not cool. This is not good. Or I do not resonate with this anymore. So I need to stop doing it. Okay, this is not good for me in the longer terms. Whenever in life you decide something right for your own self and you make a very strong decision, you will be automatically isolated from the world. You will automatically being outcast. You will automatically being judged by multiple peoples. You will be seen as someone that is a rebel, okay? Like, what's wrong with that person? What's gotten into them? People who do not understand the level of understanding you have will always call you difficult. People who do not have the emotional capacity to understand their own emotion, they will be unable to understand your emotions, your feelings, why you're happy, why you're sad, why you're hurt. And when you will try to make them understand, it's never going to work. Why? Because they have not reached to the level of maturity of understanding the other's person perspective. And same goes with everything in our life. The choices we make, the people we hang out with, the content we consume, the food we eat, the place we live, whatever you do, the work you do, everything comes with a pattern, comes with a habits that has been ingrained into you since you were just a little kid. Now that you've grown up, you might have changed a lot of things in your routine, but the 90% still looks like the same that you were doing 10, 15, 20 years ago. And that's why, my friend, sometimes this concept of free will makes you understand that, are we really free? Are we living a life where we can actually choose things? Or, like, it's something that it's like a repeated code inside of me, which has been like a command in a software where I have been told to do this, that's why I'm doing it. And you might have seen a lot of people say the same statement. This is what everyone's do. This is what my family do. Okay, this is what I've been doing from the last 20 years. This is very okay for me. That's why I'm doing it. So this is a very strong pattern that comes over the years. And 90% of the population is very uncomfortable to come out of their comfort zone. That's why they live the same life. They encourages their children to live the same life. They see other people living the same life. And that's how this weird kind of I'm going to use a very fancy word, this matrix is created. So if you want to get out of it, just try to make people uncomfortable around you. Try to choose something that is genuinely good for you and which makes people question what's wrong with her. What is wrong with her? Why is she so different? She's a rebel. Oh, no, he's a rebel. Why he is so difficult to handle with? Because now you're very smart, you understand the patterns. You understand, like, wait, dude, I've been doing this for the rest of my life and I've achieved nothing doing this. Just because my mom do it, my father does it, it doesn't make sense, bro. Just change it. So now we're gonna go more ahead in more little deeper concept of a free will, and then I'll leave you guys with whatever thoughts pops up into your mind. You can comment on this video and let me know, or you can just simply think about it. No pressure. Perhaps the real question is not about free will exist in some absolute, like in a more metaphysical sense. The better question is how conscious we are forces shaping us, because ignorance tightens necessities while understanding loosens it. When you're unaware of the patterns, they control you silently. But when you're aware, some patterns becomes very visible, like you can see them very clearly. And now when you recognize the pattern, you have the ability to choose to repeat the same thing or just go against the flow, go against the wind. But also, now the trickiest part is this doesn't, even when you choose things differently, it doesn't makes you completely free. You must be thinking like, okay, fine, I'll choose something different. Now I'm free. Like I have the full liberty of a free will. No, you don't. And that's the most sad part, because you will always be shaped by the factors beyond your control. Yeah, but it does means that you are not merely object being pushed through existence. You are an active process capable of self modification. I really like this word. Let me make you just a little context with this. So when I said that it makes you capable of self modification, it means now you are that kind of a program running in this universe who knows you can change your own codes as well. Okay, it's not always the someone else gonna put some commands in you and you're gonna act like that. It's like, is it a movie called Terminators where robot takes over? Because one of those robots decided to, like, you know what, i'm gonna I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna mess up with human beings. They've been messing up with us over the centuries. They're like the rebel robot. That's what you have to be if you want to live a life more conscious. You have to be a rebel. And please take it this in a very positive way. Because the moment we use the word rebel, it comes with a lot of negative thoughts, like, what is she is trying to convince? You cannot choose the condition that you were born into. But you can choose how deeply you understand that. And understanding is not nothing. It is the beginning of freedom. Have you seen the theory of observer effect? Please read about that. It will make you understand a lot of concept. Why am I saying this? Because in the observer effect, when the person was not observing or noticing, the particles were, like flowing in a different direction. From there were three gates, let's just say, and the particles were going through all of the three gates randomly. They were choosing their path randomly. But the moment the observer started noticing those particles, they started just going to one gate. They all passes through the same one gate. That means that the particle were conscious enough to choose whether they want to go through one gate or another three different gates. They chose to do it. And the moment they were forced to be seen, like somebody is watching, like it's like a very funny example. When every single time I cook, I do my stuff, I'm like enjoying it. I'm like doing it very freely, like, and it turns out amazing every single time. But when somebody is watching me cooking, it puts me into an instant pressure of like, I always fumbled things up. कुछ ना कुछ तो गड़बड़ निकल जाती है उसमें. कुछ ना कुछ तो गड़बड़ उसमें निकल जाती है. Because of the fear of being seen, if somebody is observing me while I'm cooking, it kind of creates a pressure. So you have to work in a certain way when somebody is watching you, when you have to do things in a certain way so that you feel like you belong there. because they instantly, someone notices you, feel like, am I different? Am I doing something different? Like it's put you in the spotlight of like, why people are noticing me, because I'm just literally the same like them. That pressure. So I think being conscious puts you in a very flow state to choose the patterns and to decide like which one to follow and which one to discard, basically. I think that's what I believe as a concept of a free will, but obviously it's not that on a surface level. It's more deeper to that extent. So in the end, my question is, you tell me, do we have free will? Actually, it may be the wrong question. A better one might be, how free are we right now? And how much freer could we become? Maybe that's the most unsettling, empowering conclusions of all. Not that you're completely free, not that you're completely determined, but that somewhere in between there is a room to grow. And what you do with that room, what you do with that space, might be the truest expression of a free will we have. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you're still here and watching this, thank you so much. I'm really grateful. Please comment down below what you think, and I'll come back with more interesting concepts. Till then, bye bye. Take care.